Welcome to my channel. My first request today is for Kitaro playing Lord of the Sand. This was requested by Manfred. And as I mentioned yesterday, I've decided to change the way that I do reactions. In the past, I've had a policy that I never do 2 reactions for the same artist every day. But I would do up to 6 reactions by one requester. Well, I'm changing that now to where each day I will still only do 1 request for an artist each day. If I have multiple requests for the same artist, they'll get split over days. But if I have multiple requests from a requester, I'm only going to do 1 request from that requester per day. What that will do is it will mean that it will stretch out. Just for example, I've got like 6 or 8 requests in a row from Manfred. Well, that will spread out his requests over 6 days instead of doing them all in one day. Normally he would ask like several Kitaros and then other things as well, and so I would do 2 or 3, maybe even 4, sometimes 5 of his requests a day. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to spread them out across the requesters as well as across the artists to try and get a little bit more variety and get to some of your requests a little more quickly. So, before we get into anything having to do with the request, I want to share this with you. This is for the dears that are on my channel. If you're watching this video, I have purchased a ticket to the October 5th concert at Madison Square Gardens. I'm in section 103, row 11, seat 15. I'll be wearing my white Stetson hat, so I should be easy to spot. And I'm also going to be at the pre-party on Saturday evening. So if you go to that, please look me up and introduce yourself, and I want to give you a hug. Okay? Now, for those of you who came to watch this video, finally, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for everything that you do that makes my channel so much fun and so enjoyable. I really, really do appreciate it, and that's why I thank you with each video. I always put the artist links in the description of their playlist so you can support them as well. But I put the link to the song I'm reacting to in the description of the video. I also put a link in there from Wikipedia if I can find anything, that's worthwhile and makes sense and is relevant. But I always put the link to the reaction request form so you can request reactions. I have now almost 3,400 requests in my queue. They're growing fast. So just a few days ago it was 3,100. But anyway, what that means is that it's going to be 1.5 to 2 years before I get to your request. You're just going to have to be patient. Divide 3,400 by 6. That's how many I do a day. That'll give you an idea. Now, if you should happen to put a request in the comments, then I'm just going to reply with a link to the form. You have to fill out the form. That's how we do it here. It puts you in the list so that I make sure I get to it. And it also puts you in the queue so that you're in order, so that I'm not jumping over people that have waited for months and months and months for their requests. Okay? So this is Kitaro, and he will be playing Lord of the Sand. Lord of the Sand. And we started it up. What? I do not understand this. Sometimes it starts, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway. All right, so this is Kitaro, Lord of the Sand. So the last couple of reactions I've done for him, I pointed out that I've noticed he has an underlying theme that goes throughout his music. This time it was the drums. And then partway through the piece, he adds in bass. And then a little while later, he adds in a sort of a chord progression that is built on the bass, which is built on the drums. It's really interesting how he does that, because it kind of gives the whole piece sort of a cohesiveness. It ties it all together. And then all the melody on the top is what you listen to, but you don't realize that it's got all that foundation underneath it that's built very strong and very powerful, so that it supports that melody completely. It's a very interesting way to compose music. And I think he's the only one I'm aware of that does it that way. And it ends up being very peaceful and very calming. I don't know if it's the underlying beat or the melodies that lay on top. It's hard for me to say, but maybe it's just the combination of the two. It's that solid foundation with the melody built on top of it that gives it that peaceful quality. It's really something, though. He's amazing. I've said many times before, I'd love to get inside his head, because I imagine it's just so peaceful in there. It's like, laying on the back porch in an easy chair, taking in the sun, drinking a mojito, and just being chill. That's him. That's Kitaro. That's who he is. That's what his music is. I pray for the people on my channel every day. You're in my prayer list long before I get online to do these reaction videos. I lift you up to the Father, and I ask him to take care of you and to watch over you. And that's my desire for you, is that because you come to my channel, you deserve a special blessing, and I ask God to give it to you. And I know he will, because he always answers prayer. So I pray for that for you. I pray for that for each person that you love. And I pray for that, really, for the whole world. This is the Vietnam Era Vet out.